Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 14 of Sweet Hand Caribbean Cooking with Sarina. I'm Sarina, and tonight I'm joined by two lovely ladies, friends of mine out on G+. I have Monique Chadon, pronounce that right, I hope?
Yes.
Of Q. Monique, well, she's the Q chef really, and Q the food, and Q the chef, anything with the letter Q. So you want to talk a little bit about what you do out there? Where are you? You're in
Phoenix.
Where are you in the US?
Phoenix, Arizona.
I knew it was in the west, southwest, yes.
Absolutely, where it's super duper hot.
Just like here, just like in Trinidad, so I can
really?
definitely relate. And I also have Terry McNeil from Canada, who's a wonderful foodie as well and a chef, and just posts the most amazing creations on G+ throughout the day. So it's great to have you back with us, Terry.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm excited to see the food.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, welcome to episode 14.
Why am I hearing myself?
I'm
double check. Sorry about that. That was a double feed there. Okay, so what I'm doing today is Sancoche, which is a Trinidadian Saturday soup, but it's enjoyed throughout the Caribbean. And I just found out today, actually, in Puerto Rico, it's called Sancocho, so it really is a Caribbean stew. And it's a plantation stew, so it comes from the days of plantations and slavery, and the slaves getting the odds and ends of the food and having to do something with it, having to make something of that. And so it's a provision stew. Uses a lot of tubers, potatoes, roots like yuca or cassava, dashi, edos, all of those starchy good things go into there, along with sweet potatoes, plantains, pumpkin, whatever you're clearing out before you do your big Sunday or Saturday market haul, which is the days that traditionally women would do it here in the Caribbean. You just put all that into a pot, let it bubble, let it simmer for a good while, and go on, as well as any odds and ends of meat. So right now, you can see here I have my sugar browning, and browning of the sugar is such an essential part of especially Trinidadian cooking. Okay, and basically what that is the caramelizing of sugar and oil and bringing it together until it's completely dark, and then we add the meat. Okay, so if you can look here, you can see that it is pretty dark here. And I'm just going to let it darken a little bit more before I add my beef. Any questions so far? If you have questions, you can put them in the event stream. If you're watching from the event page, you can put them on YouTube. I'll be checking over there as well. And of course, Terry and Monique, you can jump in anytime. Do not mind.
This is actually really interesting to me. I've never seen this, starting with sugar and oil.
Yes,
what is
browning. And we brown our meat a lot. Now it's going to flare up here, so I'm going to duck away because I don't want to get burned. That's the one thing, if you're new to browning, you want to be sure that you step away so that you do not get burned. So let me just show you the color that you're looking for one more time. You can see here how it looks. Right? So now I'm going to add my beef. And you can hear that. And I'm just going to turn to coat. And quite often, you'll find that the sugar will seize, but don't worry about that. It will, relax, if that's the right word, again, just with a little more turning and a little patience. So what we're looking for is for the sugar to coat the beef and turn it a really lovely dark color. And we're just going to do that for a little bit more before we start adding our seasonings and building the flavor base of the soup. Okay. So I'm just turning up the heat right now. I have it on medium heat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, George just joined us. Hi, George.
Hi.
That's George Cohen, Mountain View, California. Longtime friend of the show. And probably one of my oldest friends on G+. I think you're one of the first people I talked to when I joined G+ in November.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
So I was just bringing everyone up to speed, George. What I'm making is Sancoche, which is a traditional kind of market soup here in Trinidad and throughout the Caribbean. And it's basically the odds and ends of whatever you had that week that you wanted to clear out before, you start your brand new pantry for Sunday of your market goods. So whatever leftover vegetables, meats you just kind of throw them into a big pot, and with a bit of a pumpkin split pea base used most of the time, and you make a stew out of that. So what I have in here is I have a pound of cubed beef, and I'm browning it in brown sugar and oil, because that's a very traditional Trinidadian cooking method of meats, is browning it in sugar before we start.
Looks awful good.
Thank you. And as you can see here, the sugar, even though it's seized initially, the liquid that is sprung from the meats helps the sugar to redissolve. So again, if it seizes up, don't stress. Just continue stirring. You're going to get that nice flavor base. Everything is going to relax again. So that's what I'm listening for, hearing it. That's that sizzling again. It's coming back up to temperature. And so with that, I'm now going to add my seasoning. Now, if you've been watching this show or you're of Trini background, you know all about green seasoning. And so this is not pure green seasoning. It's actually based on an older soup base called Finity, which seems to have fallen out of favor, but in all the oldest Caribbean books that I have, Caribbean cookbooks, they talk about Finity soup. And that's a base made of mostly always parsley, chive, thyme, celery, and herbs and flavorings like salt and pepper, of course, maybe some garlic. I also added some beni, which is a very traditional Trinidadian flavor and a very important flavor if you want to get that authentic Trinidadian taste in your dishes. And it goes by other names like culantro. And what was the name it had in the Asian market where you found it, George?
I've forgotten the name.
It was spelled Ngogai, but I don't want to try to pronounce it because I would probably get it wrong right off the bat. So you look for it as beni, culantro. Sometimes it's called Mexican cilantro. It has a lot of different names, and this is actually what it looks like in its fresh form. And you see the leaves are quite different from cilantro leaves. It's more of a straight blade with some serrated edges on the leaves. And these actually grow in my garden, but I bought these from the supermarket because I've kind of been chopping them very happy. So I have to let it spring back what I do have. So I'm going to take these seasonings and I'm going to put them in here. And that's going to be the next level of flavor in my soup. And I'm just stirring this until it gets aromatic. So when I start to smell the seasonings in there, I'll know, okay, time to go on to the next step. Because I don't want to color them. I don't want to brown them. I just want to get those oils activated, those flavors activated, and, everything getting happy.
Oh, I wish we could smell it. I bet you it smells amazing.
It smells amazing because I'm starting to smell it now. And, you can see here the colors are starting to come together.
I think it's so important, that step of waiting till it's aromatic. People get impatient and they seem to just add everything all at once.
Exactly. And my mother is very guilty of this. She's very impatient with food. She tends to think that if it takes 5 minutes at medium, it'll take 1 medium on high, 1 minute on high. So that's her way of trying to kind of rush through recipes sometimes, and it doesn't work. You have to let your flavors develop. You have to have that little bit of patience and time with it. So that's coming to come. I just turned the heat up to medium high just to get that bubble going, and then I'll turn it back down to medium. Okay. And the next thing I'm going to add now are the split peas, yellow split peas.
Oh, nice.
And this is going to thicken the soup and give it that traditional color. The colors a yellow color. So the yellow split peas are going to help to do that. I've had them soaking for about 2 hours.
Okay.
How harmonious was that sounding? And again, I'm just stirring to coat and to get everything activated. And the things that are going to take the longest to cook are the ones you want to start the pot with, obviously, so that everything finishes cooking at the same time, which is also why you want to dice things at around the same size as well, so that they cook evenly and they cook, within the same time frame. Now, traditionally with Sancoche, things are not neatly presented. It's normally very large, hefty, hearty chunks, and that is really good for having a substantial meal and really feeling that you're having a meal, not just a soup. But for entertaining and for presentation, I like to dice everything down a little bit more so that people aren't gnawing like with half a bone at their mouth at the table, or trying to fit like a big whole potato, half a potato in their mouth. So you'll see that everything is diced a little bit more here than you might find it if you were to come to a home on a Saturday and be offered a pot of soup, but that's fine. The flavors are going to be the same and the taste is going to be the same.
I noticed with the split peas, you left the soaking water and put it in, or was
I did.
Yeah?
Yeah, because it's the starchiness. I do want that body and that thickness in the soup, so I don't want to lose any of that.
Okay.
It's a thick soup as well.
Nice.
So I have that there, and now I'm going to put in some pumpkin. So I have here about 2 cups of diced pumpkin, finely diced. And again, I have some carrot, 1 carrot chopped as well. And what I like to do is I like to chop finely the things that I don't mind disappearing, so to speak. And the things that I really want to come to the forefront are the ones I'll cut or cube more coarsely, because those are the ones that are going to stand up to the long cooking process. But the other things that I don't mind, kind of dissolving, disappearing, or diminishing, I'll chop more finely so that I more get the flavor than the actual texture or appearance of them. So I'm not a huge carrot fan, so that's why I dice the carrots. I don't mind the flavor, but I don't really want to eat chunks of carrots. But if you love carrots, chop the carrots bigger so that you have those beautiful chunks of carrot in the soup when it's done. Any questions so far?
How can we get some when you're finished with it?
You need to come on down.
Oh, I might need to know about that.
I find G Plus should arrange some travel tours for us hangout devotees.
That would be awesome.
Hi, Larry. Larry just popped in.
Hey,
Hello.
Sarina.
Hey, Larry.
George. Hey, Terry.
Hello.
Hey, Monique.
So
Hey,
that's
Larry,
Larry
nice to meet you.
Lily.
Looking good there, Sarina.
Yes, I'm working up my Sancoche here.
Sancoche, Saturday morning
You
soup.
see, that's what I was just telling them. It's the Saturday soup. It's the
Saturday
before
soup.
market. Get it going, go to market. It'll be ready when you
Yeah.
come back.
Yeah. I remember, as you're doing that, I remember my mom. She used to do that every Saturday.
Exactly. Same with my mom.
Yeah.
So I'm bringing the temperature up to a boil of the liquid. And when you rewatch this and you hear that, that means Monique just took a picture because the sound is on the YouTube, but the flash isn't. So I think sometimes when people watch the replay, they probably go, "Why am I hearing a camera?" But I'm not.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's not a problem.
Promoting a little hangout love here.
That's okay.
I'm just bringing it up to a boil. I have the beef. I browned the beef when I started in some sugar, just for that extra touch of flavor.
Mhm.
And then I put in Finity soup, which is something you don't hear about or see people really talking about much anymore. You know about that, Larry?
They don't really push infinity soup anymore.
Right.
Well, all the herbs that you chop up like this culantro, well, the shadow beni as we call it.
Yes.
The thyme, the saive, all those things you don't, they have it blended in the supermarkets now, but it's not the
Right.
same as the fresh when when you just pick
And
it
that's
up.
exactly what I did here. So I have a base of that as well with
Oh, yeah,
the
that should be.
ground beef. And then I put in my split peas, some carrots, and quite a bit of diced pumpkin. So I'm just bringing that liquid up to a boil. between the liquid of the soaking water of the split peas and the liquid that's springing from the beef, I already have quite a lot of liquid in here, and I haven't even added the next stage.
Oh, you have your split peas in there too. Oh, it looks pretty.
Yeah, let me hold this up for you. See?
Oh yeah, looks good.
So I'm bringing it up to a boil. Let me see here. Here I have my the next liquid, which is a very diluted coconut water mixture. So it's a quart of water and 2 cups of coconut milk. And that's going to be the rest of the liquid of this stew. So you see all the flavors are compounding, they're piling onto each other. Okay, so that's already almost at a boil. And that's what I'm going to put in now. Like I said, it's a quart of water and 2 cups of coconut milk. I already had it on a heat so that it wouldn't bring down the temperature of the pot, because you don't want to stop the cooking process or prolong it. So it's already hot going into the pan. Oh, and that's just starting to look even more like the thing itself.
Yeah.
Could you substitute that coconut milk?
Sorry?
Could you substitute the coconut milk?
Yeah, you definitely.
For another milk?
My mother doesn't use coconut milk, so you could just omit it. You can just put extra water, if you want, or you could put stock, if you want. You don't even have to find like a milk substitute. It's really just for the flavor, but it's not like it has to have a milk in there at all.
Trini's have to put coconut milk in everything.
Yeah, my mom's Jamaican, so she uses all the coconut milk. I like the coconut milk.
Yeah, I like cooking with coconut milk too.
Well, I love it. It's just I am allergic to coconuts in
Really?
certain
Oh my gosh, that's so
in
unfortunate.
certain forms when it's processed, and so I would love
Better to
this,
just
but I
avoid it
can't have
completely.
Yeah.
Definitely. So you see, that's what we're looking for here, is that kind of milky color soup.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to get that color even without the coconut milk, Monique. Don't worry about it. It's really the split peas and the pumpkin that bring about that color. So this is coming up to a boil quite nicely. And now I'm going to add my provisions. So here I have dasheen, I have sweet potato, and I have Irish potato, all cubed up nicely and finely. And that's going to go in here as well. So you see how full this pot is becoming.
Yeah.
And I have a plantain as well in there.
Oh wow.
So you see now why I chose this pot. There's no way I could have used another pot for this.
No way. And that soup tastes really good like the next day and the day after that.
Well, I hope I won't have that many leftovers, but as you can see, it's going to feed a lot of people. And you can make it in bigger batches than this. This isn't, this is just the size pot I'm working with,
Right.
But you can get a bigger pot and go to town. So now it's coming up to a boil. So, and I have everything in. So the last thing I'm going to drop in is my Scotch bonnet pepper for that extra heat and that extra floral flavor, which every Trini loves for the most part, I would say.
Exactly.
So you just drop that in there and you cover it.
Wow.
And I'm going to let that go for pretty close to the end. Then I'll drop in my dumplings. So I'm just going to heat up this burner so I can move it to the back. And while I wait, I'm going to start my batons. And let's see, can you all, let me turn off this burner actually. Let's see how I'm going to do this. Can you all see that? Let me move this up a bit there. I know it's not the best vantage point, but what I have here is 1 sheet of puff pastry. And this is a recipe I got from Dory Greenspan, who's one of my favorite cookbook authors. So it's from her, is it from her Around My French Table cookbook? I think it is. And it's really simple, because like with a soup like this, you don't really need to have too many sides, because it's, it's full of so much vegetable goodness and liquid. It's really going to fill you up. So I just wanted a simple side, and in this case, I'm using puff pastry, and the mustard batons are really just the puff pastry rolled out with some mustard in between, and then rolled back up, and then basically baked really quickly. So nothing that you need to stress about there. So I'm just going to open this up, roll it out. And I have my mustard and everything already set up. So you see how easy it is. You don't even really need to roll this out too much because it's already pretty much at the size that we want. I'm just going to roll it out just to patch some of the edges that have opened up a little bit. I have my trusty rolling pin. This rolling pin has been around the world with me. In my travels. And yes, I do travel with a rolling pin if I plan on staying pretty long. So there we go. I just have the baking board lightly floured. Could have done with a little more flour. And now we're going to spread the mustard on it. Okay, so I'll just stretch this out again a little. Let's see if you can see. So here I have about a 1/4 cup of Dijon mustard. And that's just going to be the flavor filling of the batons. So I'm just going to, let's see, can you see here? I'll bring it closer to the camera. I'm just spreading loosely on about half of the puff pastry, the Dijon mustard, leaving an edge on all sides of the dough so that it doesn't, seep over or leak through. Very, very simple. I have the oven preheated already to 400 degrees. So that's that. And as you can see here, let's see, can you see? Bring it closer. So I have the mustard already smeared on it, and one edge is left free. So I'm going to take the free edge and just fold it over. So now we have like a little pastry envelope that has our mustard in the middle. And I'm just going to seal that. You can stretch it out a little as well while you're doing that. And then using a knife, I'm just going to put it into about 5 long sections or sticks, ribbons, whatever term you like to use. So I'm doing that. My soup is at a rolling boil. And then I'm going to cut it across, so I end up with 10 strips like these. You see? Very simple. And it has the mustard in between. It's going to puff up, and that's what we're going to eat the soup with. Of course, you can use like a crusty bread and all of that, but I thought, this is pretty fun as well. I'm just going to separate these. And the recipes for this and links to the recipes are all in the event description and on trinigourmet.com as well. Turn down my soup now. So now I'm going to put it on a baking sheet with my trusty Silpat. Love silicone mats. I see Terry's face there. I knew that anybody's face was going to light up about silicone mats. It would be Terry. Aren't they amazing?
Oh, they are. I love them.
When I think of all the baking stuff that I destroyed in years past, because I either didn't know about them or they weren't around, I just cry.
I love how simple and easy the mustard batons are. Like,
Aren't they?
wow, that's wonderful.
I know, and it's like you can use it for entertaining, a quick appetizer, a quick snack.
Oh, yeah.
It's really versatile. So the last thing is now we're going to take a light egg glaze. So this is basically just an egg diluted with some water. And I'm just going to brush that egg glaze onto the batons. And I always mean to mention my pastry brush. It's a silicone pastry brush, and I love it to death. Terry's nodding again, because I have burnt enough pastry brushes to fizzled them. It's really sad, the things I've done to pastry brushes by accident. And silicone brushes can withstand the kinds of heats that I'm around, and they can handle anything and hold their shape and hold their form. So I love the silicone brushes as well. And now I have some sesame seeds, and I'm just going to lightly dust them over the batons. You see, really simple.
But oh, so tasty. Yum.
And oh, so tasty, exactly. So these are going to go into the oven. They're going to go for 7 minutes, and then they're going to be rotated and go for another 7. So let's do that now. Let's check on our soup. Oh, that is looking good. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Bubbling away, thickening up, getting that beautiful color. So while that goes on, I say it's time to start making our drink. Now, today's drink is non-alcoholic, Larry, so I don't know if you're going to sign off at this point.
No. I always come to your show and watch the little tricks that you share with us. That baton was brilliant. I love it, and I'm going to try.
Really? Oh, great. So I'm just going to get my glass here.
I'm not much of a baker, but I'll definitely have to try that one.
So basically what I have here is a tall bar glass. And this recipe comes from a book I've had for a while, but now because of the show, I'm really using it and enjoying working my way through it. And it's called it's like the little bar book. It's like the little Angostura drink book. It's from 1908. You can get it on Amazon. Do you know it, Terry? You look like you had a little book of recognition there.
And Angostura bitters, they're awesome.
And I love it because it's from 1908. So you're getting all these cocktails from 1908, and they're very obscure and strange, and they have these liquors that either have fallen out of favor or don't really exist. So it's really fun to kind of go through them and try and see how to modernize them, bring them into the new era. See what you can try. There's a lot of raw eggs in them. I don't know what they were doing in 1900 at the bar with all those raw eggs, but so all of those things. So there's one here that I'm making today called the Angostura soda, and when I read it, I was like, well, this is a strange take on an LLB, And for those who don't know an LLB, that's lemon lime bitters, which is very popular in Australia and those parts in the cricket world and the cricket. I don't want to say fraternity, but it was a drink that originated around the game of cricket, and it's really like a lime lemon soda with bitters in it. And now in Trinidad, I don't know how far it's been exported. You can buy it as a standalone soda, so you can buy an Angostura LLB as a soda on its own. So this drink called the Angostura soda, its components were very similar. It was soda water, citrus juices, bitters, oranges, and stuff. So I decided to kind of simplify it and also, modernize it a little bit. So to start, here we have 3 ice cubes, or what's left of 3 ice cubes, in the bar glass. And here, I know a lot of people know the normal traditional Angostura bitters. You may or may not be as familiar with the orange Angostura bitters. So this is the orange Angostura bitters, and I'll hold it up here as well. Not sure which camera Jason's on right now. And this is Angostura bitters, but with a very, very strong orange flavor, almost like orange peel. And so it adds another extra twist of flavor. So we're going to add 5 to 6 dashes of that. And you'll see here, well, if you haven't already, it's clear. Normal Angostura bitters is reddish, a reddish brown color, but this Angostura orange bitters is clear. So I have 5 to 6 dashes of that in there. And here I decided I was going to use a lemon lime soda, like a Sprite or a 7-Up, but these days I've been really addicted to grapefruit soda. I don't know how prevalent grapefruit soda is. This one is by Schweppes. So I don't know if that makes Terry happy. But I love Angostura, not Angostura, grapefruit soda. So I thought grapefruit soda would work really good in this. So let's hope it doesn't explode all over me. Ah, success. So pouring that in there. Very simple, see? Orange bitters, grapefruit soda. And then the final touch on the whole recipe was to have a teaspoon of sugar placed at the top of the glass. Don't know what that was about, but I'm just going to put in a little agave because I love my agave. And it's going to dissolve much quicker than that sugar, unless they were using a super fine sugar. So just a little squirt of agave and there. That's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good. And what I really like about it is that the bitters kind of cuts through the sweetness. You might think that this would be really sweet, having the soda and the agave in it. But remember I said that the Angostura orange is almost like orange peel. And so that's a very sharp flavor. And so that cuts through any of the sweetness here. And so that extra touch of agave, I think, is really needed to bring it into balance if you don't have a sour drink. Unless that's what you're going for, but I hope it's not.
Yeah. And that's very refreshing.
And I need that right now. You can see I'm sweating.
Yeah.
I'm sweating like a Houston concert.
I mean, and these days it's hot down here, so I mean that will be a good drink during the day.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So really good stuff going on here. So
I think
let's
you
see
could
how we're
easily
doing.
tuck some vodka in there too, and nobody would.
Say that again?
She said you could easily slip some vodka in there, and nobody
Yes,
would
you
know.
can. Definitely. I mean, you know, a little rum, a little vodka, but you know, keeping
Spike
it
it.
balanced tonight, keeping it, you know. So let's see how, our batons are puffing quite nicely. Let me just leave them where they are right now. In about 8 minutes, I'll rotate them. So, that's smelling so good. Let me just stir things around a little bit, making sure not to break my pepper. You never want to burst your Scotch bonnet pepper in your dish, in your food, because then you cannot ever recover it. What you thinking over there, George?
Oh, I'm thinking of breaking that pepper.
So let me just see how it's coming along. See, it's good to adjust your seasonings as you go along.
Have you ever thought about tying a like butcher's twine to it so you don't lose it? Have it hanging out the outside of the pot?
The pepper?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good idea. I normally just kind of try and stir around it. But the string is a good idea. What you
Just
say
a
there,
thought.
Larry?
Well, the traditional way is, the string is a good idea, but you do it very traditionally, because I remember as a little boy, you know, your granny and moms will just drop that pepper in there last, like what you did, and just cover it. And
Just make sure it always stays on the top. If it looks like it's ever trying to duck under something,
and you know
just lift it
will
again and make sure it's upright.
it will stay to the top generally, because even when you're making callaloo,
Yes.
and you put your pepper in there, it generally stays to the top. Even though when it's coming to a rolling boil, it stays to the top.
And you'll see, like, look, even when I'm stirring it, I'm stirring away from the pepper. Towards the pepper, but I never stir by the pepper.
But you know, even if you burst it, it wouldn't be that hot because of the coconut milk. It will be hot, but you know, I mean, some people like the heat too, huh?
Yeah.
But the coconut milk will kind of temper it down a bit.
Yeah, that's true. This time with the coconut milk. But if you didn't have the coconut
if you didn't have coconut milk, then you'd be in trouble.
I don't know. I'm not
It
too
looks
sure.
like I'll be using a string.
Yeah. The string is a good idea, though.
So this is, I'm going to make sure that comes back up. I'm going to drink some more soda. Is there any questions on the event stream? Let's see here. Oh, thanks, Larry.
I popped in a little late, yeah. So
Yeah, so no, so it looks good, girl.
yeah.
Jason just wrote, peppers are very indifferent to your suffering if it's busted. Okay, so I'm gonna rotate the batons right now. Oh, they're looking perfect. Let me just give you a little quick peek there. You see?
Oh yeah. Wow.
Quite nicely. So just a rotation. And you're rotating it to compensate for any hot spots in your oven to make sure that everything browns and rises and bakes at the even rate, because ovens can often have little pockets where it's much hotter and much cooler. And, especially like home ovens. So that can wreak havoc on your baked goods if you're not careful. So that's why we rotate.
Sure.
And I meant to mention, I was supposed to have a musical guest tonight, Curious Ringo, who's a rhapsody artist, but there was a technical snafu over at the studio. I should have jumped right into that. And so he was not able to join us this week, but he will join us another week soon as they sort out their shindig. So yeah, that happens, parts break down, connections break down. So there was a bit of a technical breakdown there, and they're working on it. So.
But did you have any problems with Google tonight?
Yes,
Because,
I did.
yeah,
I did.
I
I
couldn't get on.
I had everything set up, and then everything just kind of disconnected, crashed. I couldn't load Google Plus for a good while.
Yeah, because when I got home, I tried to connect, and I couldn't connect to Google. I thought it was my internet service, but it happened to be just.
Yeah,
Google.
I was actually right about to call you to see if you were home and if you could connect, and then it connected, and I was like, oh, phew. I was worried.
Yeah.
So I'm bringing that temperature up. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drop in my dumplings. And I'm actually using, normally my dumpling dough, if you've seen like episode 8, I think it was, when I did corn soup, I like a really soft dropping consistency for my dumplings. But this time I'm using gluten-free flour, so I'm making the dough quite a bit thicker than I normally would, because gluten-free flour, it usually will tend to separate if it's not, thick enough for the dumplings. So I made it much heavier because my mother, is gluten intolerant. So when she's going to be jumping in like she is today, I have to make the dumplings gluten-free as well so that she can enjoy everything. So before I do that, let me just stir everything a little bit more, make sure everything is breaking up nicely. Oh, that color is just so nice. Can you all see that color? I think you can.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm just going to drop in the dumplings.
How's the split peas, Sarina? Is it splitting?
They're definitely splitting. For lack of a better word.
Yeah.
See that boil there? So I'm just dropping these dumplings in. And I'm also doing them a little bit earlier because they will take a little bit longer than if I had used regular flour. With regular flour, you can put them in about 10 minutes near the end, and that's fine. Gluten-free flours can be a little temperamental depending. So it's good to give them a little extra advantage if you can, with the heat and the liquid and all of that.
What gluten-free flour are you using?
It's, what is it called again? You can get it at Hilo and at True Value, which are the two prominent supermarket chains here in Trinidad. I don't remember the name offhand though, but it's usually the only one they have.
Okay.
Yeah, and they have it in white and they have it in whole wheat. And it's a blend. It's a blended flour of like rice flours and other gluten-free flours. It's not one flour type, which is nice because a lot of the times online I'll find blends for gluten-free recipes, and they'll list 25 different ingredients.
Oh my
You know,
goodness.
half of which I can't get here in Trinidad, and the other half which are probably a month's salary. So, so it's kind of nice to have an all-purpose flour blend that, you know,
Yeah.
you buy it and you forget it. I don't have time for that. So you can see here, this is really almost at the top of my pot. And then I will just cover it again. And again, with gluten-free flours, the taste is very different. And if you find that the taste sometimes can be a little gritty or can have I don't want to say an artificial quality to it, but a kind of a dry quality, a dry taste, that's another good reason to leave it in the soup a little bit longer so that it can fully absorb the liquid of the soup and the flavor of the soup, so that you don't have a dry, kind of dusty tasting dumpling. You see here, yeah, look, one of my dumplings. It's stuck to a piece of beef, but it's looking good. So let me just show you it. So you can see that there, can't you?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the dumplings already forming and setting. And I'm just going to cover it again. And let's see how our batons are coming along. Oh, they're perfect. I'm going to take them out right now. It's a good thing I checked. So how pretty are these? Ooh.
Oh wow. Yeah.
As you can see, they've puffed up quite lovely.
Puff pastry is the best.
Isn't it? It makes
Puff
everything look
paste.
so complicated and you didn't have to do anything. So just going to let that cool. And that's going to be our accompaniment to the soup. How simple was that? Still have my soda.
And quick.
Any questions?
Can I come over?
No, I have a lot here. I have a lot here. Oh my gosh. As you said, it'll be good for Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
There's a lot cooking going on here.
Okay.
So let's see how our seasoning is coming along. And again, you know, when you're salting this, you know, you don't want to be shy, because you're not just seasoning the vegetables, you're seasoning the dumpling, you're seasoning, you know, the beef. Could do with a little more salt. Flavor's nice though. And the coconut is not very prominent, because remember, I only used 2 cups in a quart of water, and then I have all the other vegetables going along. So the coconut is really kind of there as a backdrop, a back flavor. You're not really going to taste it and go, oh wow, this has coconut in it, but you're gonna think this is just a really nice combination of flavors. You can't really identify one in particular, pin anything on any one component of the soup. So that's one of the things that I like about it, and I like about the addition of the coconut. You do notice if it's not there though.
Yeah. Sarina, how is the pepper coming in as far as the flavor?
I'm getting that the nice burn at the back of my tongue.
Back of your tongue? Yeah.
When
nice.
you swallow, when you swallow it, which is nice.
Yeah.
I like pepper. I mean, not overboard with the pepper, but I like to have that heat. You know, when you take it and you know you swallow and you're like, oh, my mouth's still burning a bit. So that's really nice. And you know you could put another one if you want, but you know one is fine. You know, one is good. One is for the
Yeah.
pot.
What is it?
One is good. I don't know. Some people might be like, I don't have any burn. Put another one in there. Yeah, that's looking real good. Let me just leave that there. So this is really the only thing that has to finish, and I'm going to test the meat for tenderness in about maybe 2 minutes or so. And then we will, you know, if it's ready, we'll plate.
Nice.
Yeah. So let me just get a fork. Let's see how it's coming along. Now, I was saying, Larry, before you came in, that normally in Sancoche, everything is cooked and cut really thickly and really huge and
Yeah.
really large. And the reason I diced everything small is one, live,
Right,
want to be
right.
done on time,
Correct.
and two, I do like to prepare dishes with an eye towards entertaining. And if you're entertaining at a table, you don't necessarily want your guests to dress up nicely and then have half a piece of ox bone coming out their mouth, or
Yeah, yeah.
trying to contort around a whole potato.
Or have a big piece of dasheen, and if you try to cut it, it spill.
It splashes back
Yeah.
and all on their shirts. So
Yeah.
for that purpose, I diced everything much more finely.
And like you said, it will cook faster.
It will cook faster because I'm cooking live. I'm not going to the market. Okay.
Yeah.
This is not a market, literally a market day soup this time around. So I also cut the beef quite small as well. So let's see here.
Oh, you have beef in it. Wow.
It's coming along well. It's not completely ready, but probably another 10-15 minutes.
Larry's hungry.
And it'll be
Yeah. and I just ate at my father's house, and I'm hungry again. Watching
How did that go?
It was
Another
good.
line?
Yeah, I just had a few people over. Yeah.
Nice, nice.
I had a couple drinks.
Always. And so you see here my dumplings again coming out. They came out well. They came out how I wanted them to come out. They have the shape. They have the body. And that, again, putting them early helps. Putting them early and making sure that the dough is probably denser than you would find if you were using a gluten dough, a wheat dough. And all those observations come through trial and error, because when my mom was diagnosed and I tried to adapt a lot of recipes to gluten-free flour, I had a lot. My garbage bin was very happy for quite a while. Yeah, a lot of disasters.
Sarina, let me ask you something. Do you find a lot of people in Trinidad now have gluten intolerance?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
you're finding that more? Okay.
My mom's friend was gluten-free, not gluten-free, was gluten intolerant all her life. But except for her, I had never heard of it, except,
Right.
foodie and was reading online. But by the time my mom was diagnosed, I was getting requests from people locally wanting more information, wanting to know where to go. And I really found in a lot of ways the medical community here was really slow to catch on, because there was a lot of misinformation going around that you couldn't be gluten intolerant if you were of a certain race or a certain ethnicity. And I was like, what? Yeah, it was really strange. And and it's not just children, because my mother got hers really late in life, and really almost out of the blue after a lifetime of eating gluten with like little to no problem that she was aware of. So there definitely, I don't know what it is, but there definitely has been I would say a sharp increase, because there are at least 4 or 5 stores I can think of in Port of Spain and its environs that specialize in allergy free foods and gluten-free foods. And I mean, I know sometimes people think it's about a trend or fad. I can tell you in Trinidad, with the price difference,
it's no trend. Yeah.
Stuff because you're trying to be cool.
Yeah.
Because the price differences are really steep. But if you can't eat otherwise, that's what you need to do. And that's why I've tried to slowly start adapting a lot of the traditional recipes to gluten-free as well. And people have been really grateful for that as well, because a lot of times, they're like, oh my God, I can't have it, because this is Trinidad. I mean, it's doubles, it's roti,
Right.
it's, it's buttered bread, it's a whole set of things.
Flour right through,
Yeah, and and it's things that you can't get in a gluten-free pack from away.
Right.
They're not bringing that down. The local versions. So I have a gluten-free black cake, and there's other things kind of gluten-free tweaked. Yeah, using cassava flour for the it's really nice. It works really well for that. So that's one of the things as well that I'm working on with Trini Gourmet, is slowly adapting and translating quite a few of those recipes to be gluten-free.
Oh, that's good. That's very good.
Sarina, you should add that to the the food allergy community within Google Plus.
Oh, right. Well, send me
I created
send me the link or invite me to the community,
Absolutely.
and I would gladly join and participate.
Awesome. That happens a lot here in Phoenix. We have a huge community. And so I've been working with restaurants to have them more informed so they're not hurting people, because
Right.
they just invited a bunch of gluten-free bloggers to a local restaurant so that the restaurant can prove that they can feed them. And the first round of people all got sick.
Oh.
Oh my gosh, that's a
Oh.
social media backfire, isn't it?
Absolutely. So yeah, it's like what you said. It's a fad, or it's just a
Yeah.
and so they're not taking it seriously. So I'm trying to be that regulator out there, because it's
That
just
is
so
so important.
dangerous.
And I'm really happy to say that recently I've been working or collaborating with some other food bloggers here, and we've been doing tastings at various restaurants. And I'm kind of de facto the voice because of my own dietary restrictions, my family dietary restrictions. I'm kind of like the voice for like alternative eating, because I don't eat pork, I don't eat, meat and dairy combined, and I do lean a lot towards wanting to see what's vegan, what's gluten-free, what do you have for the others out there, because a lot of times people think these people don't exist in Trinidad or in the Caribbean. And I've really found that the chefs are becoming a lot more receptive. Before there was a lot more dismissiveness, like you could stay home. If you don't want to eat what I'm going to make, stay home. But recently I find that the chefs are really starting to be like, yeah, we want to do this, we want to try. Some still feel that it's limiting and it's too limiting, which I think is just really, thinking inside the box. But for the ones that are willing to step outside, I'm really grateful. And I don't know if you're familiar with Buzo, Larry, but one of the things I love about Buzo is that egg-free and gluten-free pastas are available on request. And they hand make all their pastas, so it's nothing that would be lying around a bunch of flour pasta or anything like that.
Where's Buzo? On the avenue?
Buzo is on Warner Street. It's actually one of the top restaurants in Trinidad right
Warner
now.
Street?
It's the number one restaurant. It's where Rafters used to be, that building.
Oh, where Rafters used to be. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Oh,
Buzo now.
Buzo. Yeah, it's owned by Booze and somebody. That's why they named Buzo
Well,
or something.
the chef is Christian Greeny, and he's very aware and sympathetic to allergies and gluten-free and any of those dietary considerations or restrictions that people bring. He's fine with it. He will make to order, make custom. Don't worry about that.
That's good.
Yeah, Pesh Patisserie as well. Even though they are patisserie, they don't have gluten-free because of the patisserie.
Yeah.
They have a lot of lunch and breakfast options, and if there's something that you need a dish made without, or something that you just want done maybe to your liking, they're open to that.
They will do it. Oh,
yeah.
They're becoming more accommodating.
I know, and again, that's very important because again, our population and our awareness is evolving and our issues are evolving. And so I think it's really important that people don't just have one idea of what is real West Indian or, stay home. I mean, that's not a good attitude to have.
No.
The people who just want to partake,
Yeah.
So let's see how this is coming along. That's good. It's good. I'm going to put a little more salt. And I will plate it up now for your viewing pleasure.
There's the pepper. You see the pepper floated. Stayed on top.
Taking out the pepper. Being sure to take out the pepper.
What do I know?
Hey, Rodney.
Hey, Rodney.
See, it's given its life. You see how
Hey, Rodney.
now? It's given its life.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to put this to the side. And Larry, I think it was you who had first told me about chopping up the pepper afterwards.
Yeah.
And
have it like a condiment so people could,
Oh, so I just let it already absorb the flavors of the dish.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
That was a best tip.
Yeah.
So let me take out the soup. Ooh, let me get my.
I actually got that tip from my uncle.
Really?
Yeah. He used to like to get the pepper out of the pot and put it on his plate.
Oh, lady. Oh, lady. I have to, yeah. I mean, sometimes I combine it with a little bit of vegetable oil and some like shadow beni and stuff. You know, make a
Oh
quick
yeah.
little sauce.
Okay, I must try that.
Yeah, a little
I
quick
must try
impromptu
that.
sauce.
Yeah. Oh, that looks good.
I think so.
And I like how you use the pumpkin, a lot of pumpkin in it.
So let me let's see. How am I going to hold this? This dish is a little more hot than I expected. Okay, this will do. Right. So can you see there?
Yeah. Wow.
Looks fabulous.
Yeah. Looks hearty.
Very hearty. So you can see there's the plantain. There's still
Uh,
some bits of pumpkin here. There's the dumpling. There's the beef.
yeah.
Everything is in there. The dasheen, the potato, the sweet potatoes. It's definitely a soup that once you have it, you're gonna feel full. You might have seconds or thirds, but you really don't need anything else with this. You don't even need a side or a salad or anything like that.
Yeah.
Here I have my mustard baton,
Oh yeah.
which is good, and you could put it in here to soak up at the end or serve it on the side.
And you'll
Mm,
sleep. And you'll sleep like a rock.
so good. And it has that little let me put this down. It has that little hint of mustard again, because remember we spread that
Mm.
layer of Dijon.
Yeah.
So let's see if we can get a close up here. Can you get a close up of that, Jay?
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah. So between this and the bread, we're good to go.
Mm.
I'm just gonna cover this up, and we have the Angostura soda to wash it all down with. So that was the episode.
Very nice. Very nice.
Thank you, and I hope you try these recipes. They're really simple, they're really economical, they come together really quickly. You can see I got everything done in the hour, and they've stood the test of time. I mean, as Larry will tell you, this is a recipe that's like hundreds and hundreds of
Yeah,
recipes,
way back. Way back. Yeah.
way, way, way back.
Way back.
So thanks for coming, everyone. Thanks, George,
Thank you.
Larry,
Thank
Mooney,
you. Thank you.
Rodney,
Sorry, I was late.
and Terry.
Thank
I'm
you.
going to be off for the next 2 weeks, but I'll be back on the 23rd. I'm going to have a guest cook in the kitchen, musical act, right back with us as usual. And that word about that will be out on Facebook, Twitter, G+, TriniGourmet.com, so keep an eye out for that. So thanks for joining us tonight, and until then, sign off.